recording.
All right.
Right. Hey, everybody. This is Annah Lee here. I'm talking with my friend Pete Sack, who is a former studio artist at Art Space. He currently maintains a space at Anchor Light in downtown Raleigh and is also a really active member of the board at Art Space, and a very good friend. But as of now, Pete is finding himself in the situation that many of you are in, which is that his home space has become his new studio space for the time being. So, Pete, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit and see how you're handling that transition. I don't know if you are comfortable showing the space to folks or not, but I'd love to sort of hear your thoughts on this time.
Sure. So it's been week 3 or 4 since I've been here, and it's been an adjustment. It's definitely a lot smaller than I'm used to, so the scale of my work has gone down, and just getting on some sort of a schedule. I'm not going to work now, so trying to get into a rhythm, that's been a challenge. But I feel in the last couple weeks I've been able to have some sort of discipline and not get too distracted by the ongoings inside the house and outside the house. And just realizing that I work best in the mornings and the evenings, so not having to force myself to do art in the afternoons. So that's been a good awareness. But I think in the past couple of weeks, like I said, I've sort of hit my stride, and I'm trying to do some new things. The other component of this is I just had a show that opened last first Friday, and so there's always like a lull for me after a show where
Sure.
I'm like motivated to work just because I've been focused on that for so long. So I don't know, it sort of hit me at the right time, this transition. So I'm able to like be okay with not producing necessarily, just letting the dust settle from that, and just also just experiment and have fun, do these small pieces and see where it leads me.
Good. So tell me a little bit more about the show, I guess. Where is it? And has the space that you're showing your work done anything to sort of help promote it digitally? How are they coping with the fact that folks aren't able to physically come in and see the work?
Those are all great questions, of which I have no answers to. Other than it opened, luckily the opening was March 6th. So
okay.
I think it was the week before things got real serious around here, so the opening was well attended. So
Good.
All things considered, I mean, there was some sort of awareness of social distancing and not touching, a lot of elbow touching, but all things considered, the timing of it was great from a turnout standpoint, and it's nice to have months and months of dedication to work to be seen. I mean, that was the timing was perfect for this day and age. As far as it's at the Mauler on Fayetteville Street, and much like everything downtown, it's not open.
Right.
So
sorry, go ahead.
As far as like an online presence, I don't know. Maybe something I should follow up with, but I haven't. I've sort of been also just checked out. I mean, being isolated in your house, you sort of like, for me at least, I outside of like Instagram, I'm sort of out of the loop on a lot of things going on.
Yeah, I feel the same way, and it's been hard because they might be the two shows I've been the most excited about that both sort of opened with that March 1st Friday, and now, people aren't able to see them. That's been hard for me, which is a different experience for an artist, because I often hear that from folks that once the show is up and the work is gone, it's sort of gone, and you sort of enter into this sort of different phase of your own creative life. You're sort of changed. For me, it's just the opposite. It's like getting that show up is the start of the excitement. So yeah, we've been trying to post different features on artists and share particular pieces as much as possible. But it's part of this quarantine that's been tough for me. Anyway, let's switch gears. I'd love to see the space you're working with now. I've been to your studio at Anchorlight a number of times, which you've got a great setup. You're able to work really large scale there, and you have all your inspiration. So I'm curious to see how things have changed.
Well, the other component too is that I am the resident artist at SAS, and so I can't go into work. So that studio is also moved into
Oh,
the
wow.
studio.
So
Um,
you've got two studios moved into like what, a tenth of the space?
if that, yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty tight. Luckily, I've been able to do some video work for them,
Oh,
so
good.
and a lot of more and smaller pieces for gifts for employees. So that's been good. Again, just to scale things down. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is the that's now I'm kind of embarrassed how cluttered it is. I do actually work like this, so it's not that out of the norm to have just everything just all cluttered. I would
Right.
like to show off too my Luke Buchanan from,
Ooh.
if we're talking about art space, we got Luke
Yeah.
Buchanan and then also Alex Wagner, another former rear artist.
Ooh, I like that. Alex Wagner.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I
And then,
like Luke's piece too. Oh, that's awesome.
like I said, so I'm actually for right now, I'm playing with, I've never really done monoprint, so I'm playing with those. So this is, I just plated this. Now I'm going to paint it and then
Oh, nice.
squish it on there with some oil paint and see what happens. These were uh,
Oh,
these were a couple pieces I did the other day.
those turned out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I've been playing with mono printing with Henry too, just using like water-based markers
Oh,
on a mirror. It's been really fun.
does it? Okay, that's yeah. It's been trial and error, so I'm still trying to figure things out.
Yeah, it's you definitely give up a lot of control with
Yeah,
mono prints.
which is, I guess, the nature of the beast.
Yeah, that's just the flavor of the day or the next several weeks.
Yeah, yeah.
We ain't got control right now. Cool. Well, so I guess just for the sake of time, I want to wrap it up. But do you have any? I think something you said earlier that resonated with me was sort of essentially. I'm going to paraphrase. Correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the things that you're learning is to one sort of maintain this sort of discipline and maintain your practice. Obviously, you have a space in which you're able to do that, even though it's significantly different than what you're used to. But also this sort of idea of sort of being kind to yourself and giving it a rest and taking time. Are there any and that really resonates with me because that was a struggle. Everything feels very, there's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress right now, trying to reinvent the ways in which we do things. But I think that taking a pause and easing up is so important. Are there any other things you would offer as advice or things you've learned so far through this process?
I think that's the main takeaway. I posted something
Yeah.
on Instagram a few weeks ago about been struggling to create and like finding motivation, and it was the response was interesting. What I found was a lot of artists also struggling with the what's the point mentality, but all the non-artists chiming in saying how much they needed art and wanted to see people producing and creating, and also people finally picking up their paintbrush. They have time now to do stuff, and the thing they are turning to is our arts, which
Yeah.
is very encouraging. So it was just interesting to see the artists struggling, but the non-artists embracing.
Yeah.
And so with that in mind, I didn't feel so alone in those feelings of like what's going on. And you're right, not to beat yourself up over not being out, not producing, just adjusting to these weird times. And like I said, I think putting myself on a schedule, like saying like 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, and then you get it out of your system, and you feel like you've done something productive for the day.
Right. Yeah, and that's awesome. I love ending there. I think I commented on your initial post, and I'll say it again to everybody. What you're doing matters. Keep making, whether you're a professional artist or someone who's just craving some creativity. I really believe that's just the most important thing we can do right now, is just continuing to contribute our ideas and creativity, and get it out there as much as we possibly can. So,
Yeah.
Pete, thank you so much for sharing this time with us.
Can I add one more thing? So,
Oh, of course.
Personal story. Like, my dad is the one who taught me how to paint and to draw. And for 10, 20 years, he hasn't picked up a paintbrush or pencil. And so every year I'd get him like a new paint set or like get him something to do, and he wouldn't do it. But in the past few weeks, he started painting. So sometimes it takes the pandemic to get people producing.
No, that warms my heart. Oh, that makes me so happy. Well, good. Well, best of luck to you and your family and all your loved ones.
Likewise.
Give the animals a love for me, and we'll check in soon, I hope.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Bye, Pete.
Bye-bye.